welcome to Tech Down Over. Today, we are ready to talk cameras, autofocus, and other things. Joining me is our co-host and good friend, Jeff Blanchard. He's in the right side of my screen, left side probably of his screen. Anyway, he's here. How you doing today, Jeff?
Good, thank you, Rick. Yeah, nice warm weather here. So what I was doing yesterday was inside in the air conditioning, watching all your video reviews.
Oh, wow. You must have gone into a catatonic state. And then in the middle,
I didn't leave the house.
Yeah, in the middle we've got Harold Mugliati. Normally he's working the show, and today he's on the show because he's also been doing a lot of shooting of the videos we've been doing, testing autofocus and other things. So how you doing today, Harold?
Good. So yeah, today you see my face.
Yeah. Hey, what? We're losing people already? What's going on?
We're getting scared off.
Anyway, here we go. Let's play our intro.
All right.
That's the one.
That's the right one.
We were going to surprise you. We have a new intro that's coming.
Ah, okay.
But it's not quite finished yet. I must have imagined this in my dreams that we were finished because I go, let's get the new intro going. Wait, that's not it. What happened to the new intro? We never did it yet. We've been planning it and have some stuff ready for it. Should be cool. Should be different. A little different, more energetic, that's pretty energetic, so I don't know. So, Jeff, as you noticed, we put out 4 videos over the last week of autofocus face tracking on some of the more popular cameras and camcorders out today. In particular, we did the Sony A9, which is an absolute amazing camera. It's a beauty of a camera. We did the Panasonic GH5, another beautiful camera, which is great. We did the Sony HXR NX80, which is a camcorder, 4K camcorder, and we did the Canon XF405, another 4K camcorder. We own all of them, so nothing was rented, nothing was given to us for review and for money or anything else. It's just our reviews, what we found, what we saw, good, bad, and different. And it was almost an identical review on all of them. We tried to keep it pretty consistent so that it wouldn't be too far off. And we had some interesting results. And Jeff, you were looking at the 4 videos we did. What caught your attention on them?
Well, to start off with, I think with the Sony A9, I think that really just got to sit in a class all by itself, because I think that sort of wins down for an all-round, for the best sort of camera out of that lot. But then again, it costs the most.
Right.
But what stood out of there to me was my big thing is that camcorders are definitely not dead, because with those camcorders I saw there, it was nearly impossible for you to go out of focus. And that's what they're designed for. No matter what you did, even you might have lost face detection, I think you did every now and then,
right.
But even when you were saying it was out of focus, I struggled to see it being out of focus. So there was none of those moments with those the Sony and the Canon where it went that far out of focus. You could see I can't see the features.
Well, you know what we said when we said we were going out of focus. That's when we lost the reticular box that goes around the face. At that point, it went away. We may have still been in softer focus, but it was still in focus, but the camera at that point didn't think we were in focus.
No, and I struggled. I looked at it again. I struggled to find it out of focus. The only one that I could see out of focus was the GH5, of course. That was the hands-down worst autofocus. Hey, it's not that bad, but when you compared them to those other 2 cameras, it made it look shocking. But
so you thought the GH5 was actually worse than the XF405? Interesting.
Well, I think what it was doing was the XF405, when it lost focus, it basically just left the focus where it was, but for the GH5 it was kind of hunting back and forth, so it was searching for something.
The GH5 had a little bit more tendency to wobble, though it wasn't really bad. The version 2 upgrade actually fixed a lot of the wobbling issues, so it wasn't kind of going, gotcha, no, wait, no, oh, there you are, hi, oh, wait, what's that? No, hi, how you doing? It wasn't as bad. It was actually pretty good. According to Hugh Brownstone, I was talking to him about that. He goes, "Stay tuned." So Panasonic may be coming up with some new autofocus soon. I'm kind of hoping to see what he was talking about, and I say see what he was talking about because he did a demo recently of slow motion with the G9, the new Panasonic. It was beautiful. It looked really good. The focus was damn good. Now, mind you, he wasn't really tracking a person in most of that. In some cases he was, but so I'd like to see how well it does in tracking things moving, but overall it looked very, very good. And that's not their video camera. That's more of a photo camera.
And the thing is, I noticed with that Sony video camera, the camcorder that you did do, the backlighting on that was the best out of the lot. You go down to the, going out the side of your office, and you're just standing in front of the door, and you've got that huge amount of backlight on there. All the rest, yes, you saw your face nice and clearly, but nearly all the rest were really washed out. But the Sony, it wasn't washed out. It looked really nice.
Yeah, the GH5 did okay with the backlighting. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
It was okay, yeah.
I thought even the Canon surprised me. It held more than normal, but there was a lot of bleed through. You could see bleeding of the backlighting into the face. And the A9 was almost perfect. It just didn't even seem to have a problem with it. It just worked. Now the A9, this is interesting. The A9 and the NX80 do share the same chip.
Oh, okay.
With different autofocus points. So the A9, I think, has 693 autofocus points. The NX80, I thought, was 293 or 292. The GH5, I think, has 250-something focus points. And the Canon had, what, 81?
Something like that.
Yeah, Canon's really cheap on their autofocus points. And if you notice, you lose at least a third of your screen with Canon to autofocus. There just isn't much in the sides.
But even then, I still think that with all the different points on there, how many points do you need?
At least 1,000.
But I mean, to me, I don't know, just thinking out loud, I thought if you've got all these extra focus points, isn't there a chance it could pick up on something you don't want?
Well, look at the A9, though. The A9 has 693, and it's impeccable. When it holds on to face, it holds on to face. The Canon was not bad. It could have been better. It was fast, but it wasn't as fast as the GH5 on picking up the focus. The GH5 got confused a little bit, but not too much. It was actually better than we thought. I gave it really good, strong kudos. I put it about equal with the HXR NX80, and Harold was saying he actually liked the GH5 more or less than the NX80.
I think in certain respects it was slightly better, but I think the NX80 was still faster in its focus. Like it caught stuff faster.
Okay, you can go to 3, for you.
I don't have it set up properly.
It's not. Oh, we didn't change it. Okay.
Yep. I definitely saw that the Sony was. I liked the Sony the best out of them, but I said I'd reserve my judgment on the Canon because just looking at that, it's hard to say because the Sony look and the Canon look are totally different. The way it looks in the video, both excellent. I love the Canon look, but I did see within that video that you were doing some possibilities that it would do a better job, but I think it needs to be driven harder, the camera. It's not as easy to point and shoot. You need to, like when you're putting the ND filters on, that's fine, but now, like you said, you've just got a button, it flicks through.
Right.
It did an excellent job.
But you see, now the way we would do that, if we were doing that professionally, I think what we would have done was put an ND filter in front. I think you can mount an ND filter in front, but you'd have to get rid of the what do you call that? The
hood. I know what you mean.
The hood, the lens hood. And that might be tricky. It might let more light in. But the ND filter in the front, if you could screw it in, I think you can, would have been smoother. The problem with the Canon ergonomics, they're pretty good in some respects, and then they fall down flat when you have to do things like ND filters because you've got the constant and I really was surprised to see the thing going by. Because why would you want that in a video? You wouldn't.
I thought at first when I saw it, I thought, whose hands that keep going in front of the screen?
That's what I thought. I go, why is Harold? There's a fly in front of Harold. He's swatting at it.
Stop moving your hand. But it was. Then I thought, it's the ND filters. As soon as you said,
yeah, it's really interesting.
Someone's
and
snipping the scissors in front of the camera.
Yep.
yeah, that's what I kept thinking. You kept doing something in front of the camera.
And so it was interesting because the ND filter, the way they set it up, is lousy. It's really lousy from an ergonomic point of view. You know, when you're on a camcorder, you don't sometimes have the luxury of stopping, filming again, stopping, adjusting, stopping. You're running and shooting, and run and shoot means you don't stop. The way they did this camcorder with the ND filters means you're stopping, so you could get better light into it. It's very hard to adjust things without that, and it was also a little bit harder adjusting the aperture. Just a tad.
What I would do with that camera as well is have a test. Forget about the ND filters, but take it outside again in that real bright light.
Yeah.
And see how you can adjust it to have it acceptable without the ND filters. Because I still have a feeling that.
Oh, we tried that. We actually tried that once, and it couldn't get dark enough. We couldn't shut the shutter enough, and not the shutter, but the aperture. And then when we went to the shutter, that can screw up the video when you're filming if you go too low on the shutter. Or too high. So we just kind of went, It really is built for either an external ND filter where you have a circular ND filter that can go probably 15 stops versus, I think this one only did 11. It was only 3 stops, and I think it only went up to 5 or 6 on the filter. So it wasn't that dark. And in that kind of sunlight, which is normal out here, it didn't do that well. So that was an issue. Now, we shot the A9 without any filter, and it did pretty well considering. By playing with gain and playing with the shutter, we got that pretty well. On the GH5, we did pretty much the same thing. We played with the gain a little bit, the ISO, and played a little bit with the shutter speed to try to get it as low as possible, plus aperture. And it reacted pretty well. The ergonomics on the GH5 are still probably the best of all of them in terms of where everything fits and is. You like the way it felt, right?
Yeah, the GH5 has a good feel. I like the tactile feel of the buttons, too. They have some little bumps on there so that you can kind of tell where the buttons are in relation to each other.
You're actually not hearing him, are you?
Yes, I am slightly. It's just a bit low.
You're coming into my... You know what it is? I think on the mixer, we probably have to add you to the channel.
I don't think you've given him a
microphone.
microphone.
The output channel.
I think I'm getting him through your microphone.
You are. So I think we have a problem. It's the webcam. Can the webcam be attached to the master channel? We're seeing if we can attach his.
It's audible enough, so don't worry about that at the moment. It's
okay.
Audible enough anyway.
Okay. We're going to see if we can attach him to the master channel.
But Rick, with the Panasonic as well, like you're saying, with all of the different ones you did, that is at the lower end of the price point.
I know.
Of the cameras. Now, have you heard about the GH5S? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, now that's going to cost about $2,500, and that is S for sensitive. It is their low light camera. They're trying to compete with Sony, I guess, with the A7S Mark II. So this is going to be a camera that can do, I don't know how high the ISO will go, but when they release it sometime supposedly soon, that's going to be more expensive by about $600 than the GH5, but it is not a GH5. It is the GH5S. It is built with different intentions in mind, like low light capabilities, higher ISOs, things like that. It also had pretty high slow motion. It did some interesting things. It's only a 10 megapixel camera.
And that's what I was saying. It's less megapixels, but they say they expand them. And like this, you said, they instead of doing 240 frames per second in 1080p, it goes to 180. I said it goes to 240, I think.
Right. That's a lot.
And it shows you the difference between that and the GH5, and looks quite impressive. But it said it's only if you want that, and it was better in the lower light. But
yeah, I'm not sure if that camera was needed. It could be Panasonic is reacting to Sony rather than looking at its own market base. How often do you really shoot in that lower light? I don't know. I don't know how good its HDR is going to be. How's the how much dynamic range will it have? I'm not sure. Now, Hugh again. I watched Hugh's podcast on that when he interviewed Sean Robinson from Panasonic. He's the marketing director. And he said he was very impressed when he looked at they had a 105-inch screen that they were projecting to. And he said, wow, he couldn't even see any pixel gaps between that. Everything looked super clean. And they were shooting that with the GH5S. GH5S, yeah. And he said it was very, very impressive the way that whole thing worked. I don't know. I'm so cameraed out right now. I don't know if I'd buy it maybe at the end of the year when tax time comes. But other than that, I'm not in a rush to buy it. You know, the A7S II did sell a lot. That was only 12 megapixels.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You don't need a lot of megapixels for low light, nor for video. So for video, really, the only reason you get advantages with something like the A9 or even the GH5, it has enough megapixels that it's shooting the full sensor. So by having the full sensor and they crop it down, you still get more details and color in it. So from that point of view, you're not losing by going to a GH5 or an A9 or even the A7R Mark III, which we also got. I haven't really played much with it yet.
Oh, you got that one? Did you get the A7R Mark III?
I did. We did. We had a couple.
I was just going to say, I'm waiting for you to get that one.
Yeah, we did. Our accountant said you need to spend a little more, so we bought the NX80 and the A7R III. So we invested a lot in Sony in the span of a month. It was pretty scary.
I really need to come over and spend a month there and just play with your cameras.
You should.
I'll just base myself in Camaria, take a trip to Vegas with one camera, take a trip to somewhere else with another camera.
It'll be fun. We can take a trip and go visit Curtis Judd.
That's right, yeah. Where's that?
Salt Lake City. He's about an hour and a half away.
Yeah, we'll do that and do a road trip.
Well, if we did a road trip, we could drive to Vegas, and it's only another 6-7 hours to get to Salt Lake. So, we could. That might be fun.
That would be, but as I said, we'd have to have a U-Haul trailer with all the cameras on board in the back.
Oh, the van. It'll fit the van. It's fine.
Oh, that's okay. A big Pelican case for all your cameras.
Oh, gosh. Yep. But I tell you, now another thing we noticed that both Harold and I were noticing is the quiet of the lenses and the quiet of the cameras. Harold, which did you find was the noisiest of the cameras?
I think the Canon made the most noise. It wasn't terribly noisy, and we had mics hooked up to them, so you couldn't hear it at all, of course. But the Sonys were spookily quiet. Like you couldn't hear anything. I had my ear right up to them.
And the focus on the Sony lenses is mind-boggling. They are the quietest lenses. I used to think the Fujis were quiet. These are just, there's no noise at all. They're amazing. And we shot mostly with the same lens. I think a lot of it was the 18-105.
Yes, a lot of it was.
We did a lot with the 18-105, which is a zoom lens, which is actually a replaceable lens, and it has a zoom toggle, which is so cool. So you have, and that actually is an APS-C sensor lens, but it worked really well on a full-frame camera. Now, we also didn't try the test on the Sony A6500. I think we should do that too, because that's a beautiful little camera.
Great camera too.
It has great focus, and it's small. The colors are good. I love that camera. It's a nice small camera to take around with you. If you don't want to take the heavier or slightly larger A9, and slightly a lot more expensive, it's like almost 4 times more money. The what's it, $1,200? I think it wasn't that much, and it's a great camera. The batteries suck. They just don't go that far. You get an hour, a little over an hour on a battery. With the A9, you're getting 2 to 3 hours on that battery. And with the hand grip, you get 2 of them, so you get about 5-6 hours of shooting, which is nice. But noise-wise, the Canon was probably noisier. The GH5 was fairly quiet, but it depends what lenses you put into it. We had the 25 millimeter on the GH5, which is really equivalent to a 50 millimeter. It's a 2-time crop factor. It was nice. We really had a good time with that. We were using the Rode Link microphones the whole time, and those are great. They sounded great. Rode does it again. Go Australia. They do a good job on that stuff.
They always seem to, without any fuss, you just turn them on and away they go. There's not much setting up. They don't overpower. Like some of their auto gains on some of them do a very good job, but this one did it so it wasn't overpowering, wasn't underpowering.
No.
Now,
Now, you did the Smart Lab. You did a review on the Smart Lab this week. Now, that's version 2, right? That was version 2.
That was a version. The only reason I was getting a bit left out, so I thought I'd better put something up there to say. And I did this last year, and I took out the bike and did the Rode Smart Lab, the old one.
And the old one never sounded that good.
But when I started recording, doing it in an office like you did,
they're fine.
Yours, the original one you could hear a lot of hissing in the background.
Oh, really?
Outside you couldn't hear it. Whereas the new one, it's perfect with the iPhone.
Yeah.
And another device, it just works perfectly. And I mean, for here it's about $69, but there it's probably about $45. It's ideal if you haven't got anything, and programs are so easy these days to sync up audio. You don't need to be a genius with 10 years ago to hook up your audio to your video.
Right.
You had to have something fantastic, whereas now mostly said, here's the audio, here's the video, link it and sync it, and it usually does that. Now, Rick, I was seeing with interest that talking about Las Vegas that CES was on, and you're not allowed to call it the Consumer Electronics Show now. It's just CES. So
they don't say Consumer Electronics anymore?
No, it's not that. It's CES.
CES.
Well, that's the same anyway. One thing that everybody was saying about, there wasn't much there that they had, but one thing that seemed to I just nearly missed was DJI have got on that was showing the Ronin S. The Ronin S. Now, all the other, I know you got the Ronin M before.
No, we sold it. Yeah,
you sold it, but the Ronin S is like the Osmo that we've got.
Yes.
It's like that, a bigger gimbal for all like the Sony A9 and all those cameras.
Really?
And it's got the things in, like there's one called the slant, which when you have it held up in your hand like that, it's slanted so straight on you can still see the screen on the back of the camera.
Oh, okay.
And it's got the remote like the Osmo, but it's made for that. And I think it's one I would actually use, because you don't have to set up a big gimbal there to do that. You can have this easy, and we could use it.
How much is that one?
They haven't said, but somebody said it under 1,000.
That'd be nice, because I was thinking we need a new gimbal.
Even if it's 1,000, I think with it, and it's also got on there for matching cameras. I don't know, some ones it's got a focus pulling ring, so if you can certain cameras you can do it on there. So it's got the focus pulling ring on that. Neat. But I think that would be, because the only thing with the Ronin and all the other things stabilizers is it's just too down awkward to set up. You say, I can't be bothered. Whereas you can just hold it there. If you don't, I can take a still picture, take it off quite easily, put it down. It's not such an inconvenience. And I've been using the Osmo recently, and I love that little thing. But what I'll do miss is just wanting the proper camera to be put on there. And I've got the FZ1000.
Yeah.
If I got one of these, I'd still need a new camera, because the FZ1000 is no good for a gimbal, because the weight shifts every time. If the lens shuts in, it all goes out of balance. And
now on the FZ2500, that's Z for him, Z for us. That one actually, the lens doesn't go out; it's all internal.
Oh, is it? Does it just stay there?
It just stays there. So it goes pretty far, but it doesn't change any balance on the device. So it's probably something good.
Now that FZ2500, have you had a listen to that? That doesn't sound like a percolator anymore.
No, it's a lot quieter. I'd say it's 80% quieter. So it's more like a normal zoom. It's not as quiet as the Sony's, but it is a lot quieter than it used to be. Before it was really noisy. Now, no, it actually is nice, and actually I think picture quality got better. It's got, I think, a higher frame count, pixel count on the chip. I think I want to say it's a 24 chip, maybe 20. I'm not sure. I'd have to go look at it, but it's a nice camera. And it's not too heavy. It's a little bit bigger, I think. It feels a tad bigger, but not by much. I like it. It really feels good. It has a nice, typical Panasonic ergonomics, so it's good. I tell you right now, I'm torn. I do like Panasonic, but I'm starting to go Sony. I could see a lot of benefits in Sony, though I also like the GH5. It's a great camera. If I want secured focus, knowing I'm not going to get any chance of being screwed over, I'd go Sony. because the Sony's faster. I've been screwed over by the GH5 and some stuff we did where it just didn't keep focus. And when you're filming, you're not always noticing how in focus. You're too busy looking at people or looking at the shot. But you come out and look at it and go, oh, that wasn't good.
The only thing is with all the Sonys, though, yes, the Panasonic doesn't focus as well, but at least you've got that flip out thing.
I love that. Yeah.
If you're in frame. Yeah. But the other ones don't go out of focus, but you don't know whether you're in frame or not. If
I know. I know.
The other ones have that. You need to get like another screen or something.
Well, you have to get a portable, put it on top, and then you can look at it, via HDMI. So that's about the only way you can do it. I don't know why.
Want to do.
I think the UN, which I hate with a passion, should pass a law that says every camera should have a flip-out screen, and then they can go under and nobody care about them anymore. Other than that, I can't stand the UN. It's such a waste. But
the thing is, with that flip-out with that viewfinder, the thing is why people need that is because they're usually not in a studio. They just want to plonk it on a wall and do a bit of a video and film themselves. You want to see. You don't want to have to set up. You want like cheap little Panasonic camera here. It's got the flip-out. I can see what I'm doing now on there. And same with all the earlier Canons.
Well, yeah, but Canon only puts it on the cheap cameras. They don't put it on anything professional, which makes you wonder.
And like those Sonys I saw was looking for the A7 Mark III, and one of the first thing he was putting was the screen protector on the screen, which definitely you spend that sort of money on that.
Yeah.
You don't want to scratch it too much, but then again, I'm still one, I don't like putting screen
I don't either. Yeah, you and I are the same, and you know what? I should shut up. I better not say it. You and I have never broken a screen.
No.
Knock on wood.
You've thrown a camera.
I have thrown a camera, and I have broken a lens. That took skill.
But that was somebody else who left the bag open, though. It wasn't your fault.
No, it actually was. I was showing somebody the bag, showing what a cool bag this was. This is the Low Pro Tactical. It's a great bag because on the side you've got two pockets that you can pull a camera out easily by just opening the zipper. The problem is I left it in our conference room upside down and opened the other way. So I closed the other way and I forgot to look at the side, figuring I forgot all about using the side. It wasn't one of those things I do very often. In fact, I don't usually pull out a camera that way. So it was just to show somebody how it worked. And then I pulled it up, took it to my office, nothing fell out. It worked beautifully until later I swung it over my back and the camera went flying. I saw it, I went, ah! And by the time I gasped, it had hit the ground and bounced 3 times, shearing the lens off on the first hit. The camera, not a problem. The camera is built strong. The lenses, what a piece of junk. It's a little bit of fly wire. That's it. That's what holds it to the camera. Cheap with 3 little plastic connectors. I went, $1,000 for this? Wow. That was cheap. That was really cheap. They could have done better than that.
I always remember what was the first big iPhone? Was it 6, was it?
The 6, yeah.
Yeah, when that first got released, they showed the first customer to buy one, and because of the time difference, Australia was the first part of the day that got it. So they filmed this young kid who'd got the first iPhone. He ran out of the shop and they had the camera crew there, open it, pulled it out and smashed it on the ground.
Oh man!
Whole world, because they're boxes. If you ever seen them, if you pull them out, they just fall out the top, right on the top. But I thought,
but what you don't know, and the conspiracy theories know this, that kid, paid employee of Samsung.
Yeah, that's but I thought you could just see the look on the guy's face and trying to pretend it was no problem, and I thought, he's devastated. Now the whole world's seeing his pride and smashed to bits. Like
but I'm sure they put up an international fund to pay for his new iPhone, and he made $1,650,000 on that one.
Well, that's right. That's hopefully would get that. But if he had the rights to the video or whatever.
Yep. Oh,
but that's what I'm doing now, though, is Rick with now I've got my updated computer, trying to go through some footage and trying to put a few other little things out.
Hey, now you got a new Apple.
I did, yes, I know. To your disgrace,
It's so sad. It's so sad. I have not. I haven't. I have. I must commit harakiri. I have not convinced you to go to the light.
Terrible dishonor.
Well, I'll tell you
Terrible
the
dishonor.
thing is, I never noticed without having two of them before, because now I've got this one down here and the other one upstairs.
Yeah.
I never realised, because I've never used them, because I've never had one to share, so I can use this one down here from upstairs and vice versa very easily
interesting.
on them. And
Now, did you get the i? Is that an i7?
This is an i7, yes.
i7. Okay. Because here, you go to the stores, they have nothing but i5s. There's not even an i7 listed. I think you have to special order every one of them.
They're never on display. They only put the i5s on display. You always have to. Not Sony. Apple are the only ones that you can get them from. You can't get them from the other dealers. It's only and even the Apple store don't have them there.
Now, my only concern, I don't really hate Apple. I just hate what they do. I think they're okay computers, but I don't like the way they do things, and they charge you a lot for really the name, because they break down as much as anybody else and more. On this one, it's still a 27-inch screen?
Yep, 27-inch. But the thing is, since I've been having them, I've never had one ounce of trouble with them.
Oh, you're lucky.
Until I do, cross fingers.
But you know what? I think we use them more than you did. They were on 24/7, running many days and weeks on end, months, and they just didn't hold up. We had lots of little problems with them. But I think the Apples were okay. I think I'd rather have my own monitor because I don't want to be limited to 27 inches. And you could always get a bigger secondary monitor. Is it a lot faster? Can you tell the difference?
Hey, the funny thing is, I don't know, because now with this patching, with the patched everything for Spectre and all this, it's cut down the speeds of all machines. So
really? Really?
Because they say part of the thing to stop this the Spectre problem with the speculative way it works, they've fixed it, they've patched it, but the way they patch it is slowing all the chips down. So
Isn't
all
that
machines,
stupid?
If you've patched, they're all just going to be slower.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
But it seems to be quicker coming on and doing the things that you do wait for. But I haven't really tested it with rendering a video out or whatever. But
do you still have a Drobo on it?
I still have the Drobo, and I thought that'd be right. The moment I get a faster machine, they patch it to make it as slow as the other one. But then again, this one will be slower.
We got hit this week by Microsoft's stupidity.
Oh yeah.
It hit 5 machines so far. Microsoft did some sort of update that causes power issues. And as a result, let's see, one of my machines totally died. It went down, and I couldn't get it back up for quite a while. So I swapped it for a different one, which went down. And then Harold's machine went down. Leslie's machine went down. The old switching machine, my old machine went down. I mean, a lot of machines are going down. Now, at home, I have one. It went down, but for some odd reason, it auto-repaired. I don't know why. But it's been a pain. We've all wasted probably 8 to 10 hours trying to get machines back up.
Yeah.
And that's the second time Microsoft screwed us over in the last 2 months. It killed all of our audio drivers with Personas about 2 months ago. And, they're doing a crap job of updates. It's like, hello, I don't know what crummy country you're going to, but they're not doing their work. Nobody's testing the damn stuff. And at the other end, we're stuck. So you got Apple, which thinks they're God-given gifts to humanity. Then you've got Microsoft, which thinks they're better than Apple. And you just have screwed up idiot companies screwing end users over all over the place. You just kind of shake your head and go, And Intel, which has an attitude too. So it's just joy.
The thing is why there's always going to be a bigger problem with Windows than there is Mac is because it's the same thing with Android and iPhones and that. Apple know exactly what the hardware is. They know exactly what can be, and there's only a certain amount of things that can be done.
Well, they also protect you. They protect the kernel, the operating system kernel, from software. Windows doesn't, though they said they're going to start because of all these viruses that are killing them. So I hope so, because they could have done this 20 years ago.
And one of the things that we're saying with a lot of the patches for Microsoft is it's not Microsoft that's stuffing it up. It's all the third-party vendors that got software on that they haven't done like they had a blue screen of death for the Microsoft. And
that's the one. That's the one we've been getting.
It was the antivirus. When people are running separate antivirus software other than the Windows ones, the antivirus hadn't patched it. So when they did their code, they got the blue screen because it wasn't taking into account the non-patched antivirus.
Great. Gotta love it. So that may have been it.
Yeah,
I gotta love it.
That's what I've been hearing a lot of that lately was, and they just said, don't expect Android phones ever to be patched.
No, no.
Nobody knows what's out there because there's so many different variations. You never know what's.
So Jeff, I failed miserably at stopping you from getting an Apple. I have surrendered. I quit. White flag is up. I can't win you. Camera-wise, we've shown you a lot of different cameras. So, which one do you think you would get if you had to get a camera?
Well, if money was no object, which it always is, I would get the A9 because out of that, the A9 was the best. But to me, that's nearly about $10,000, I think.
Oh, over there, yeah, it's 4,500 here.
Yeah, well, with the lens and all that, but then the A7R Mark III is about 7,300.
Yeah. And you know,
don't forget,
the A7R Mark III, again, has the A9 chip and has the bigger A9 battery. So you get, it's not bad. It feels pretty good in the hand. I haven't really played too much, but I've looked at it a bit. The lenses work fast. It's quiet. It's not a bad choice. A lot of people are saying buy that over the A9 just for money. It's $1,000, $1,300 cheaper.
Well, because the A7R Mark III does have the 42 megabit pixel still,
which is nice.
So the reason why it would be probably the better value because you've got the best of both worlds. And I think if you're spending a lot of money, I would still think, oh, the A9, I'm spending all that money, but it's only a 20 megapixel camera, isn't it?
Yes.
I think
20 or 24, I think.
24.
It's not as huge as the other one. I would think, well, I'd want something that does both things for that. But even looking at the A7R Mark III, the quality of it and the auto-focusing on that, it just is fantastic. Hopefully there would come down a little bit here, but when you're looking at that and their lenses, and you can't skimp on lenses because that's the main part of your camera. I'm still set up to about
the lenses are expensive, but I'll tell you, I'm impressed. The Sony Zeiss lenses, wow. They're fast, they're quiet. I'm impressed. They have these hypersonic motors that are just incredible. It's pretty amazing. You really don't hear them much. I mean, Harold, did you notice much on the APS-C sensor lens, the 18-105, or the 55 millimeter, which is a gorgeous Zeiss lens? It's beautiful.
Well, like I said, I pretty much had my ear up to it. I could hear maybe a little bit, but it was almost nothing there.
Yeah, very quiet cameras.
But I must admit, though, if I were going for the Sony A7R Mark III, at least that's giving me something different.
Yes.
The Panasonic GH5 I would love, but it still is. I've already got one of the Micro Four Thirds camera. I've already got that, but the Sony's a full frame.
Yep.
Something different, and the Sony.
Got the back. It's got the backlit sensor and.
My first video camera was a Sony, so I've got, and I love them. I had the first, what was it? They had the beta tape in the camera.
Oh,
remember that one?
The big shoulder rig.
But that was the second one. My first one was just a Sony one with the side pack with the big,
I remember that
recorder on the side.
Yep.
And then I had this big, huge thing that weighed about 2 kilos on your shoulder or 3 kilos on your shoulder, but you never had any problem with stability.
And you know what? Think about it. That was only 20 years ago. If you think about it, it was about 20 years ago, right?
I'm thinking, when was that for me?
Because the VHSs and Betamaxes were all probably mid-90s or... No, I'm sorry. They were in the 1980s. 80s.
83. I had 83. 83. Because I remember I had the 80. Because I remember the Sony. God knows what I did. I mustn't have done anything for that because I think that cost me $4,000.
Oh, back then they were expensive.
That But then again, nobody travelled back then. You didn't do anything else.
No.
But it took me years to save up for that. I tell you, years. And I thought it was just so expensive.
Yeah, those are good old days.
It was in 80, because I remember, yeah, it was, because I know my first trip to Los Angeles was in 1984, and I took the Beta with me.
Do you realize that like in 2004 or 2005, that's when the first Canon 1D came out? Maybe 2005? Or maybe 6, I'm not sure. That was only a 4-megapixel camera, or 8. That was it. And that was a $8,000 camera. 8. No lenses.
Yeah.
That's all, and that's not that far ago. What, 10 years? 10, 11 years ago. Wow, we've come a long way, baby.
But I remember, when I worked at Sony, there was talking about a 1 megabyte memory stick.
Yeah, I remember those, and they were expensive.
And I think the development at the time said if you did this, it would cost $80,000. And I thought, 1 megabyte. And you think, you can't give them away now.
I know. That's funny.
Give away a 1 megabyte chip.
Wow. 1 megabyte. Wow. Anyway, Jeff, we are at the end of our time. This is always fun. And I'm curious to see what kind of comments we get, if any, on those reviews, to see what people think about the follow focus. The follow focus is an interesting test always, because really in this generation of cameras, we're finally seeing good follow focus where they can really keep up on tracking. The GH4, for example, didn't do a very good job on tracking. It would lose stuff real quickly, and it constantly wobbled. The GH5 started wobbling, and now it's not wobbling so much. And Sony right now, they said, is taking over. I'm not convinced the dual pixel autofocus is all that great. I don't think it's as fast as the Sony. And I found in using, for example, if I set up a camera that's a Canon, I have a couple of Canons like the M5 and the ADD. If I set that up and I start shooting and then I walk into frame, has no idea who I am, if I'm a human. It just keeps me blurred. I have to literally hit the focus button beforehand so it sees me. You can't do that by yourself if you're blogging. So I didn't find it that good, even in just simple blogging. The GH5 had the same problem. You saw some of the tests I did earlier in the year. It was pretty blurry. The Sonys, sharp. I'm going to do some tests just walking into podcasts. I'll bet you money it's sharp. Because
and I think the thing is with the Sonys, you could be really guaranteed that if you just jump in front of the camera, you might have just that little bit out. But even in all your tests, I couldn't see that. But there was nothing there that when you start, you would say, "Oh, look at that! It's out of focus."
Right.
Always. There's a GH5. Yes, sometimes you had to. Oh, it's out of, now I'm in focus. But you never had that on all the others. You could pretty much guarantee if I stand in front of the lens, it's going to get me. It never faulted any time.
Yeah.
Some could fool the Sony one, the Panasonic sometimes.
Yeah.
You couldn't fool the Sony and the Canon in those camcorder ones that you did there.
Yeah, the Sony actually only got a little confused when I started circling around with my hands. It got a little bit confused, but not much. It was pretty much on the. It just kind of took a quick look to see if I was still. That was my face coming in. Other than that, it was good.
I think that was more that we were noticing the reticle kind of wiggling around, but I think the focus actually looked still good.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, so we'll see what kind of camera Jeff gets soon.
Yes, I was started to look at the A7R Mark III because I thought I love the Panasonic GH5, but it's too similar to the FZ1000.
Right, I know, you're like me. You want something different.
Need something different to just, and there's a thing, if you're going to do that, and now with the bigger grip, the bigger battery,
you won't be unhappy with it. It feels good in the hand. It really does.
And I was looking at somebody going through all the menus. Some of the things it's got on it quite good on the menus, but it's more not a lot to do, but more presetting everything, doing it to what you want.
Yep.
But it looked very nice. Just see if I can justify spending that much money, because like with the way the dollar is here, it's 30% different to yours.
Right.
So, that much?
So I get 70 cents per American dollar. So
how much? Only 60 now?
69, I think.
69,
so $69 gets 69 cents, I think.
Yeah.
So when I came the last time I was there 3 years ago, one Australian dollar got me $1.05 American.
I know. That was a good time for you.
It used to be very good, but now it's gone the other way. So
yeah. All right, like I said, just buy it here and just bring it home. Like what I left with it.
That now still won't make any difference because you'll still translate into more here.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Rate,
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas before, when I was $1.05, it was cheaper. It was better to do
Right.
it that
Right.
way.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've looked at a few things where going from B&H. Yes, when I was looking for my Mac, I upgraded to 64 gigs of RAM. I don't know why, just because I could, but because you don't do it from Apple, because they'll charge you another $2,000.
I know, it's as much as a PC, yeah.
And you can save $1,500 by going to. But I looked at B&H and get that from B&H with the transfer fee and the internet with the shipping, and that it came to $20 different than it was if I bought it here. So
that's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So the prices are pretty comparable.
Yep.
It's just with shipping, and plus also the prices you see on all your things whenever you do. That doesn't include tax, does it, on yours? With mine.
However, if we buy from B&H, that's tax free.
But everything we've seen in Australia, every price we have, it's all included tax.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
It's illegal to advertise anything here without the tax.
Interesting. Okay.
But at least we've got the flat tax rate across the whole country.
Now, in California, there is one thing we can do that we can't in other places. If we buy here, we pay taxes, but we're only paying like 2-3% because we're considered video broadcasters. So there's a loophole for keeping people in LA, so they won't leave. They give you a tax break.
I've always wondered how you can buy things tax free.
Oh, because we're out of state. You can only tax in your state, the state you have offices in.
Well, to me, it's still in the United States.
No, we're just a ragamuffin bunch of states. That's all. We're like the Vikings, we just rape and pillage each other. It's awful.
Yeah, I guess if our American economy ever takes a apocalyptic turn and we're all huddled around burning barrels, then Jeff's going to be here to buy all our cameras.
That's right, because you won't have any electricity to power them, and that's
That's right.
He'll take them.
I'll have to get a boat over there to get it. Yes.
But you can get a long ship.
That's right. Yeah, but let's face it, if it's that bad there, it's going to be the same here.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, you already had Mad Max, so we're catching up.
Finishing off the show before we go, did you hear about the alert in Hawaii last week?
Yeah, I heard it was mostly politically motivated. That
I thought
it was idiotic what they did.
With all text messages saying there's an ICBM inbound now.
They're investigating right now. They should probably put somebody in jail for that stupidity because that's really stupid. And they lied about it. They lied that one guy made a mistake. They had one guy who just took the fall for everybody. You need like 3 or 4 people to be able to do that. So it was a lie. It was dumb.
He was talking about the system. He said when they come in, somebody's just got to press that one or that one, and then they didn't.
No.
So it went off. So I thought it's so simple. How you think they'd have a bit more safeguards in it than people could do some strange things if they think it's the end coming.
Yeah, they can. But like I said, it was a political thing, and it didn't work too well. So dumb.
Bit reminiscent of Orson Welles, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Here come the aliens.
War of the Worlds, and people committed suicide because they thought the Martians were coming.
Well, but they were part of the Darwin Awards, so that's okay. They just removed themselves from the gene pool of humanity, kindly.
And again, back then, if you didn't know, you would have thought it's all on the radio. It's on there. It's true.
I know.
You believe it.
And Orson Welles had a good voice.
Thing on Google, they'd believe it, wouldn't they? Said the Martians are coming, get out.
As it is, people believe everything they hear on the news, which is why the news is successful. It's like, wait, use some critical common sense. What's that? It's just, critical common sense.
Watching a talk about somebody saying about Wikipedia, and there was this information they was saying about this fellow, and he said, no, that's wrong. He said, yes, it's correct. And it was the fellow they were talking about. It was him trying to correct his Wikipedia, and he said, no, you don't have the authority to say what's wrong. It's me. It's my
mine.
I did that. no, I'm sorry, you're not authorized to change it.
Oh, that's funny.
They are a little weird about that. They don't like people editing their own stuff.
No, they want other people lying for them. Yes. Anyway, guys, we better get going. So have a good one, Jeff. Enjoy the warm climate. At least you've got warm. We don't know what we have anymore. It's cold, it's hot, it's warm, it's raining, it's dry. We have a weird climate here.
Yeah, pretty much the same as we have here. Like it's cooler today. It'll be 19 degrees, so about 70 or something next week, rather than 100. So we get the same thing here.
All right. Well, anyway, have a good one. And if you're watching the show, please subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us feedback. Watch the videos. Tell us what you want to tell us. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.